Welcome to the Purple Party, known as Purple Nerd Channel, home for all those who geek out on all things Prince related. Now, typically when I do one of these Purple Family videos, I give you a brief introduction of the artist's background, what they did before they met Prince, a little bit of a backstory. But today I'm talking about Michael Jackson. And I feel as though I don't need to introduce anybody to Michael Jackson, as everybody knows who Michael Jackson is. And if some rare occasion you're someone who has no idea who Michael Jackson is, I feel a little sorry for you. And a matter of fact, if you're under 30 and you don't know who Michael Jackson is, you need to have a long sit down with your parents. Michael Jackson's Bad was released on August 31st, 1987, and is Michael's 7th solo album, as he recorded 15 albums with his brothers as the Jackson 5 and later as the Jacksons. Bad would go on to sell over 15 million copies worldwide on its initial release, peaking at number 1 on Billboard's Top 200, number 1 in the UK, and making it to number 1 in 7 other countries. Singles were released for Bad, which hit number 1 on the Billboard Top 100 and number 3 in the UK. The Way You Make Me Feel, which also made it to number 1 on the Billboard Top 100 and number 3 in the UK. Man in the Mirror, peaking at number 1 on the Billboard Top 100 and number 2 in the UK. Dirty Diana, another number 1 on the Billboard Top 100. Just Can't Stop Loving You, which made it to number 1 in the UK and the Billboard Top 100. Smooth Criminal, hitting number 7 on the Billboard Top 100 and number 8 in the UK. Another Part of Me, which peaked at number 11 on the Billboard Top 100 and number 15 in the UK. Leave Me Alone, making it to number 2 in the UK. Liberian Girl, peaking at number 13 in the UK. And finally, Speed Demon, which was only released in France. Videos were released for Bad, The Way You Make Me Feel, Man in the Mirror, Dirty Diana, Another Part of Me, Smooth Criminal, Leave Me Alone, Liberian Girl, and Speed Demon. Aside from the promotion machine known as Epic Records, behind this release with all these singles and videos, a film called Moonwalker was released on October 29, 1988. The VHS release of this film sold over 5 million copies worldwide on its initial release. Further promotion came from a shoe deal with LA Gear and the massive Bad World Tour, with 123 shows grossing over $124 million in 1987 money. Also, Sega released Moonwalker the video game in July of 1990. Because of all the singles and videos that were released for this album, I've technically heard the vast majority of this album, but technically, this is a first time listen for me. And you're probably asking me, how in the world is that even possible that you had never, up until recording this video and getting prepped for this video, had never heard the complete album of Bad? Well, that's pretty simple, and I have to be honest with you, and that is, I'm not a fan of Michael Jackson.
What the hell did you just say?
But with that being said, I respect the hell out of him as an entertainer and an artist. I mean, the way that he creates albums as being a collection of singles is a really aggressive approach. And when he gets into his creative process, he's not just simply creating a song for the sake of the music itself, but he's also creating and thinking about the performance that will go with the song, as well as all the visuals that will go with it as well. Basically creating every song to be like a short film, which is very impressive. But sometimes when it comes to certain issues and whatnot, sometimes you just gotta take a side. And when it came to Prince or Michael Jackson, I chose Prince. The same way when it came to DC Comics or Marvel Comics, I chose DC Comics. The same way when it came to Michael Jordan versus LeBron James, I took Michael Jordan. And it's also the same way that I took the Snorks over the Smurfs. This album features the return of the late legendary Quincy Jones handling production, with Michael Jackson handling co-production, with Michael and Quincy being surrounded by a collection of acclaimed musicians, with Michael taking over as the lead songwriter on all the songs. Unfortunately, this album would be examined with great scrutiny, as it is the follow-up to Thriller, released in November of 1982, which sold over 40 million copies on its initial release, and as of today has sold over 125 million copies, making it the best-selling album of all time. So let's go ahead and get into the monumental album known as Bad. We open up with the title track, Bad. With the importance of this being the album that follows up the aforementioned Thriller and this being the opening track, Michael really wanted to set the album off big and considered having Prince on the song. And it was actually Quincy Jones that pushed Michael to reach out to Prince and get Prince on the song because, as Quincy saw it, this was a perfect moment in time to do so, and maybe the only time that this collaboration would ever happen. So Quincy set up the meeting actually, and it was at Quincy's house. And again, the purpose of this meeting was to discuss the collaboration of this song. Michael Jackson had already recorded the song with Quincy in 1986 and went ahead and played Prince the full song and gave him the lyric sheet to follow along with. Prince was not very fond of the lyrics of the song and politely passed up the opportunity to work with Michael, specifically on this song. But to say thank you for that opportunity, Prince sent Michael the song, Wouldn't You Love to Love Me, which did not make the album bad. And actually it's never been confirmed if whether or not Michael actually went and recorded the song. But seeing that that song didn't make the album, Prince would give the song to Taja Seville for her debut album in 1987. And to speak on the genius of Prince, when you hear Taja's version of the song, you can totally hear Michael Jackson covering that song. And on top of that, fitting perfectly within the album Bad, meshing very well with the other songs. But over the years, rumors started to bubble to the surface that Prince and Michael Jackson were having a feud. And I've read some crazy stories over the years. One that I find hilarious because it's so outrageous is the fact that allegedly at this said meeting, Prince and Michael Jackson actually got into a physical altercation and Quincy had to pull the two of them apart. The other wild one that I've seen actually quite a bit reported and mentioned in a lot of different reviews and such is that after hearing the song, Prince went back to his studio, recorded his own version of Bad, and sent it back to Michael saying, you know, hey, with a note that is saying, hey, this is how this song should sound like. And just to confirm, both of these stories are completely false. But when Michael was still with us, Prince had confirmed many times that he never had a feud with Michael or a problem with Michael whatsoever.
There was never like any rivalry between you and Mr. Jackson?
Oh, not to me, no.
Okay.
And again, Prince would give Michael even more praise after his unfortunate passing.
Until the sun came up and all Prince talked about for hours was Michael Jackson.
Now then though, did Prince and Michael Jackson play pranks on each other and take little shots to each other in a few of their songs and even in their music videos? Of course. But it was all in good fun and just playful competition. As far as the song Bad, it tells the narrative of a young man who stands his ground against partaking in violent acts that are supported by his old friends from his old neighborhood, who have decided to question this young man's authenticity since he left the block to go to college. Which of course this young man replies with the courageous answer that standing on your own and bettering yourself makes you truly bad. Side note, I know we're getting real serious here, but every time I hear this song, I can't help to think about Weird Al Yankovic's parody of the song. Next is The Way You Make Me Feel. This song tells the story of a man infatuated with a beautiful lady and starts to rap to her, trying to score a date with said beautiful lady. Next is Speed Demon. Speed Demon tells the story of a man being chased by the police in a high-speed car chase for an undetermined crime. It is noted in the song though that he is armed and ready to fight with the police if they ever catch him. Next is Liberian Girl.
Liberian girl, you know that you came and you
This is a song that on the surface is just a simple love song, but Michael's actually singing to the female population of Liberia, who during the recording of this song were facing oppression and violence. Next is Just Good Friends. This song features the legend of legends Stevie Wonder, and I have to say that this duet could be called the Friend Zone National Anthem, as the song is about a man who's in love with a woman who is a known serial dater, and even though he's convinced that she loves him, she won't give him the time of day or take their friendship to the next level. Next is Another Part of Me. This song has Michael preaching unity and oneness in the world and asking for a non-violence approach, living out the line, killing them with kindness. Next is Man in the Mirror. Now this song right here, Michael's taking us to church on this one, even having gospel legends like the Winans and the Andre Crouch Choir showing up on background vocals. Michael explains that the main problem with our world is ourselves, as we're the ones that have lost our way, and we need to start looking at ourselves to repair this broken world instead of sitting around waiting for someone else to do it for us. Next is I Just Can't Stop Loving You. This beautiful ballad is a duet featuring Siedah Garrett, as it's about a couple expressing their love for one another. Next is Dirty Diana. No turning back. Now then, Michael rocks out on this one, which is a nice change to the vibe of the album. The song is told from the perspective of a lead singer of a rock band who keeps trying to quit it with a particular groupie because he's a married man with a family at home, but for whatever reason, instead of going home, he can't but keep going back and sleeping with this groupie. Next is Smooth Criminal. This song tells the tale of a burglary gone wrong, leaving a woman murdered, and the criminal flees the scene, leaving no clues for the authorities. The line, "Annie, are you okay?" comes from CPR training that used a dummy named Annie. Before beginning CPR on said dummy Annie, you would ask, "Annie, are you okay?" If you had owned this album on cassette or vinyl, this would be the final song. But for you high-tech people in 1987, if you had a CD player, well, the CD had one more song, and that is Leave Me Alone.
Just leave me alone.
This song is about a man who has recently broken up with his lady, but for whatever reason, she wants them to get back together. And since he keeps refusing to get back with her, she decides the best thing to do is to go around spreading all kinds of lies and rumors about him. And these rumors and lies are so vile that they're actually ruining his life. I found reviewing this album to be very difficult, as it's really hard to separate the music from the videos and visuals and just focus on the music itself. In doing so, I found that the production was very repetitive at times, and vocally Michael's and weird sounds that he makes after each line he sings got more and more annoying to me, because I think Michael shines best vocally when he sings in his falsetto, which may be why I enjoy his album Off the Wall the most, as I did listen to all of his solo albums to prepare for this review. As I mentioned before, the Man in the Mirror is a standout for me, as well as Dirty Diana and Smooth Criminal. Thank you for joining me on this episode. Please like and share this video, and if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to the channel. It actually does help the channel grow. And if you got a moment, go ahead and check out my Patreon page. I will see you on the next episode, where I go ahead and do another what if scenario, and this one is about an album that the estate decided that we need to celebrate again at Celebration. So until the next episode, I wish you heaven.